and we're back with more Philadelphia Phillies off-season talk. Welcome into Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Much appreciated, each and every single one of you, everybody that's been here from the start and who's come along the way. Appreciate all of you, and I can't express how much you mean to me and Phillies Daily. But on Monday, the 2026 MLB Hall of Fame ballot was revealed, and the Phillies have some good representation on that ballot for the 2026 class, headlined by newcomer Cole Hamels. He headlines 12 first-time candidates on this ballot. There's also, I believe, 15 returning candidates as well. But Cole Hamels, he is one of the biggest names, biggest newcomers on this ballot. Obviously pitched for the Phillies for a very long time. The big lefty, he was just incredible for the Phillies for so long. He was their ace, one of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball, and he is all but a Hall of Famer. Maybe not first time or on the first ballot, but he will get in one day, and that is for sure. So Cole Hamels, one of the 12 first-time candidates on this year's ballot. Also, former Phillies Hunter Pence. He was traded to the Phillies from the Astros back in the 2011 season. Very short time with the Phillies. He was actually traded the following season from the Phillies to the San Francisco Giants in 2012. But he's a first-comer on the 2026 Hall of Fame ballot as well, as is Cole Hamels. And Howie Kendrick, another former Philly. He was traded to the Phillies after the 2016 season, heading into the 2017 season. And then he was actually another guy who was very short-lived with the Phillies. He was traded from the Phillies to the Nationals in 2017 during that season at the deadline. So Cole Hamels, Hunter Pence, Howie Kendrick, all first-comers, first-time candidates on the 2026 MLB Hall of Fame ballot. Howie Kendrick is actually as well in the Phillies organization right now. He was hired back in 2021 as a special assistant to the general manager. Sometimes you'll see him on TV sitting there in the dugout and all that stuff if you ever pay attention to that. But he's been around the Phillies for a few years now in the organization. But he is a Hall of Fame candidate here for the 2026 ballot for his playing days. That he had a very good playing career. But Cole Hamels is one of those top names here headlining this Hall of Fame ballot and potential Hall of Fame class for 2026. Returning former Philadelphia Phillies Chase Utley, Bobby Abreu, and Jimmy Rollins are all as well on this 2026 ballot. One of the 15, again, I believe it was 15 returning candidates on this ballot. But Chase Utley, he's got a really good chance to get in. Jimmy Rollins as well. Who knows, maybe Bobby Abreu. We'll see what happens. But that is all of the Phillies candidates here on the MLB 2026, or former Phillies on the Hall of Fame ballot. To be inducted into the Hall of Fame, you need to have at least 75% of voting on all of the ballots to make the Hall of Fame. It's a very tough process for these players, former managers, whoever's being voted in to make the MLB, the Baseball Hall of Fame. Some guys come close, some guys never make, obviously after their eligibility runs out, and then you got to wait forever. It's just a whole thing. Results for this ballot will be announced on January 20th, so still some time for that. But there we go. There's some Phillies representation. Swinging into the offseason and current Philadelphia Phillies, or potential current Philadelphia Phillies, there have been rumors so far these past couple of weeks since free agency started and trading resumed as well. And a guy that they've been linked to in the past for really years is Minnesota Twins outfielder Byron Buxton. Byron Buxton, very, very good center fielder in Major League Baseball. He is on the Minnesota Twins. If you remember, during this past season at the trade deadline, the Twins were sellers. They got rid of a ton of guys. They kept Byron Buxton, however, but again, traded just a lot of trades at that deadline. It was really insane, honestly. The Phillies actually got two of their players. They got Joan Duran and Harrison Bader in separate trades at the deadline from the Minnesota Twins. So that was two of the guys they traded away there. Two significant and really starting key players, obviously, as well. The closer, Harrison Bader, played a lot as well in the outfield. Byron Buxton, though, he is very loyal to the Minnesota Twins. It's pretty admirable, but he will potentially get traded. He might be a part of this just complete roster teardown that the Twins are doing. this past season and heading into the offseason as well. They're still listening to offers to some of their key players. However, Byron Buxton has a full no-trade clause here through the 2026 season. He also has the ability to finish out his contract that he's on right now to block trades to 5 teams in the 2027 and 2028 before his contract runs up. So pretty much he's got a lot of power to stay with the Twins. He loves the Twins. He's said it time after time that that's where he wants to be. He wants to be with the Twins. But recently he's also starting to mention that he does want to play for a contender, and obviously with the Twins trading a bunch of guys away this past season, listening to offers on some other guys, not really being a great team, and getting kind of younger, doing kind of an unofficial rebuild. They're not really saying they're rebuilding, but essentially they are. An aging guy like Byron Buxton just is not necessarily going to be contending for a championship with the Minnesota Twins in 2026 or potentially the next couple of years following that to finish his contract. So the Athletics' Dan Hayes actually said last week, I believe it was maybe, or was recently, he reported that Byron Buxton could potentially be open to a trade if the Twins continue to trade away their players. Now, Byron Buxton is getting older. He will be 32 next month in December, but he's very good. He's a right-handed hitter, right-handed bat. The Phillies are obviously prioritizing trying to find a right-handed power hitter to add to this lineup, particularly a corner outfielder. Now, Byron Buxton has only played center field in his career with the Twins. His 11-year career, he's been around for a long time. Center fielder, I'm sure he can play other positions as well, but center field, that's where he's best suited for with his skill set. Career year for Byron Buxton in 2025 with the Twins. He had 35 home runs. He was an all-star. He was a silver slugger. He's an elite defender. He won a gold glove and platinum glove, I believe, as well back in 2017. The only of his career, but still plays very good defense when he's healthy. And that is a big if he is healthy, because he has an extensive injury history throughout his 11-year career. He's actually only played in over 100 games 3 times in his 11-year career. So 8 different times he's played under fewer than 100 games. But this past year he did play in 100 and something, I forget. So he was 126, I believe it was, in 2025 with the Twins. And he played in 104 or something like that the year before in 2024. So a little bit healthier. Obviously had a lot of good production this past year, being relatively healthy with the Twins with those 35 home runs, 83 RBIs, I believe he had. I don't have that number here in front of me, but played really good defense. Again, he can DH as well, but again, mostly a center fielder, very good fielder, very good hitter when he's healthy. So that's a guy that has been linked to the Phillies recently in trade rumors, and a guy that they've had been linked to in the past as well. Again, Byron Buxton, he remains loyal to the Twins, but if they continue to sell their guys, he may want to get out of there and be open to a trade to a contending team like our Philadelphia Phillies. So something to keep an eye on, and that is definitely a lot of rumors that have been floating around as of late. Now, the Phillies do have a potential center fielder coming up, and that is their top prospect, their number 3 prospect, Justin Crawford. We all know Justin Crawford is expected to finally make his major league debut with the Phillies in 2026. The coaching staff, Dave Dombrowski, the president of baseball operations, the front office, are all talking very highly of Justin Crawford heading into this offseason, heading into spring training, heading into the 2026 season, saying he's going to have an opportunity to win a starting job, to make the opening day roster. He's extremely talented. He's a great hitter, mostly a single kind of guy, contact hitter, still trying to develop that power. But he's a guy that has only hit since being drafted in the first round back in 2022 at all levels of the minor leagues. Had an incredible season this past year in AAA with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. A lot of fans, including myself, wanted Justin Crawford to be up with the Phillies this past year in 2025. They never brought him up simply because they had a very crowded outfield, even though it was kind of a weakness for most of the season until Harrison Bader and Brandon Marsh and even Max Kepler turned it on in the final 2 months of the season. But the Phillies wanted him to keep playing every day. They didn't want him to bring him up and just sit him on the bench. They had these other veteran guys paying them, so they had to play them, and Justin Crawford just wasn't a part of the plans in 2025, even though he probably could have helped the Phillies a lot. So we'll see if that happens next season in 2026, if he can take advantage of his opportunity, win a starting role, and help this Phillies team get not only younger, but help them in a position of weakness and an uncertain position really heading into 2026. We all know the outfield is kind of uncertain with some guys free agents, some guys that might not be on the team next year, potential trades. But Dave Dombrowski, the Phillies president of baseball operations, he all but confirmed Justin Crawford will be on the Phillies roster in 2026, as I just said. He said, quote, "In my mind, Crawford has a real strong chance to be with our club. We're giving him that opportunity to be with our club. We think he can play center field. Will that be our best with him in center? He's never played right, so if it's not center, he would have to play left. Is that our best setup as we go forward? I don't know that. It's very dependent, but we feel very comfortable if we said, okay, you're our center fielder. If that were the best way, he would be fine to do that." The Phillies are seemingly not convinced that Justin Crawford can be a quality defensive center fielder. A lot of experts believe he's not going to transition well into a major league caliber and really kind of above average defensive center fielder. They feel like he could be better suited in left fielder or in the other corner spot in right field. Mostly left field, though, is what I've been seeing. But right now he's a center fielder, so they could move him to left field, trade for Byron Buxton, and there you go. You already have a better outfield situation than you have right now. And one of the guys that obviously is why the Phillies' uncertainty surrounding the outfield heading into this offseason in 2026 next year is Nick Castellanos. A lot of outfield talk this episode of Phillies Daily, but we're going to finish off with Nick Castellanos. We all know that Nick Castellanos' time with the Phillies is all but over. It's been reported time after time throughout this offseason and at the end of the regular season as well, into the playoffs. We all know the drama that he kind of caused throughout the end of that season with getting benched a couple of times, reduced playing time, not really hitting well there late in the season. He's been a streaky hitter throughout his Phillies career as well. Kind of said some things about the fans and the comments about Rob Thompson and they're related. It was just a lot of stuff, but Nick Castellanos is expected to be traded or released this offseason and not finish out his contract with the Phillies in 2026. He has that 1 year left on his deal worth $20 million for this season. And it was reported that the Phillies were actively shopping Nick Castellanos at the GM meetings last week. Not a surprise. We all knew that was going to happen. They're going to try to trade him. If not, they're just going to release him if they can't get anything for him. Dave Dombrowski did say he had a lengthy conversation with Castellanos and that the Phillies are open-minded about his future with the team or whatever it might be, a different team. He said, quote, "Sometimes a change of scenery can be beneficial for people, but we'll wait and see what happens." That was Dave Dombrowski talking about Nick Castellanos and his future with the Phillies. The Phillies are reportedly also willing to eat a large chunk of that $20 million for the 2026 season on Nick Castellanos' last year of his contract. They're unlikely to get much out of a trade. As I said, it's just tough. He's an aging guy, streaky hitter, didn't have a great year to end the season, had some drama around him. Still $20 million is a lot of money for a guy who's getting older and didn't really have a great year last year. Teams, though, reportedly could be interested in Castellanos and a prospect attached to Castellanos in a trade that the Phillies would be giving up rather than the Phillies taking on a large chunk of the contract and only getting Nick Castellanos. So that's something to look at, but the Phillies are looking to avoid that scenario and keep their prospects and just try to trade Nick Castellanos for whatever they can get or eventually just release him. We'll see what happens. A lot of outfield uncertainty, as we all know, heading into the new season. Justin Crawford should be in the outfield. Maybe they make a trade. Maybe they trade a guy like Brandon Marsh or Johan Rojas, who have also been in trade rumors. Maybe they bring back Harrison Bader. Maybe, who knows, they sign Cody Bellinger, Kyle Tucker, whatever it might be. The Phillies outfield has a lot of question marks surrounding it. But it's fun and exciting to see what's going to happen this offseason. So stay with us here on Phillies Daily. I will be breaking down all the latest rumors or breaking news whenever it may happen, whether it's a trade, a free agent signing, a coaching change, whatever it may be. Fun and exciting offseason. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Phillies Daily. Again, stay tuned with us all offseason long for all this Phillies talk. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. And as always, go Phils.